This car is a fuel that's made out of nothing but water and air. The entire car industry is about to fall apart as an efficient and daily usable water-powered engine was finally developed, which threatens both EVs and fossil fuel engines as it tends to completely eliminate the huge levels of pollution that vehicles produce. Join us and let's take a look at the recently discovered water engine and a few reasons why it will destroy the entire car industry. First of all, let's take a look at the key reasons why this hasn't been done in the past. The car industry has been pursuing the development of water-powered engines for quite some time now, usually to no avail, as every single previous attempt was either a complete disaster and failure, or it simply was not efficient enough for any practical use. There were some promising projects, however they've mostly been abandoned for various reasons, but more on that later. The closest thing that we got to real water-powered engines that have actually been moved from the prototype phase have been fuel cell vehicles and hydrogen-powered combustion engines. However, both of these options are still inferior to EVs and regular internal combustion engines, as the technology is still fairly rudimentary and inefficient in the long run. However, we're finally at the dawn of water-powered engines, as a couple of years ago there was a man who came up with a fairly functional prototype of it. Let's meet the inventor of the water-powered engine. Olaeddin Qasemi, a scientist from Iran, has been credited as the inventor of this all-new engine. Qasemi has been working hard on finding an alternative to fossil fuels, and his efforts have recently given birth to one of the biggest steps for the entirety of the car industry. Qasemi, who's based in Kermanshah, a city west of Tehran, claims to have converted a locally produced Peugeot 405 from gasoline power to a water-powered vehicle. He's also stated that the engine found in the converted 405 is highly efficient, reliable, and simple, which makes sense because he developed it from scratch in his spare time. Let's take a look at how this engine actually functions. According to Qasemi, the power is actually generated when water or H2O gets separated into hydrogen and oxygen, creating a chemical reaction in the process that's actually the energy required to power the car. It functions similarly to a hydrogen combustion engine such as the one found in the BMW Hydrogen 7, except that it doesn't use a highly flammable compressed gas as its propellant. The hydrogen fuel cell works in the form of electrolysis. The H2O molecules split into hydrogen and oxygen once the voltage is applied to the electrodes located in the tank. This system is often referred to as an HHO generator, and it should, at least in theory, function absolutely flawlessly. The tank itself has a capacity of 60 liters and is located in place of the rear seats. In the video that has been released to the public, we can see Qasemi filling the fuel tank with distilled water, which he even drank at one point to show that it's not from any form of regular fossil fuel. It's been stated that when driven economically, the car can cover distances of over 900 kilometers at a speed of 90 kilometers per hour. That means the car consumes around 6 liters of water over 100 kilometers, making it extremely economical. So pit stops will be few and far between, making it more convenient than electric vehicles, especially on longer distances. This is obviously not the only benefit that comes from using water as an energy source. First of all, let's compare the water-powered engine to its fossil fuel counterparts. Water is actually more potent than regular gasoline as a fuel source. A liter of water can generate up to 96 megajoules of energy, whereas a liter of gasoline produces only 29 megajoules, which is almost 4 times less. Now that doesn't mean we'll all be driving hypercars that utilize 1.6-liter four-bangers. However, the cars will surely have enough power to perform the needs of most people. Furthermore, internal combustion engines produce all kinds of toxic emissions, the most notable of which is the extreme amounts of carbon dioxide, whereas the water-powered engine developed by Qasemi produces only water vapor, which causes next to zero air pollution and makes water-powered engines the blessing we've all been waiting for. Finally, utilizing water as a way of fueling the car is simply much better from a pragmatic standpoint, as water is considerably cheaper than gasoline or diesel. Sure, distilled water is significantly more expensive than regular tap water, however it's still way less than regular fuel, making the car as economical as an EV. Speaking of EVs, water-powered engines provide a much higher level of convenience, as you can fill them up virtually anywhere, and, as we've already mentioned, in a much shorter period. Plus, let's not forget about the fact that EVs are highly complex and sophisticated machines, meaning that maintaining and fixing them can only be done by highly skilled and knowledgeable people, and that tends to cost a lot of money. Replacing a battery on a baseline Tesla Model 3 costs almost a third of the entire car. Compare that with a mechanical assembly that's much simpler and easier to work on, and you'll easily see the key benefits of the utilization of water engines in day-to-day usage. Oh, and not to mention that they're also greener for the environment and in no way, shape, or form dependent on the electric grid, which, as we all know, mostly uses fossil fuels to produce electric energy. Electric vehicles are just too expensive for any utilitarian use, as most of them are still considered to be luxury cars by the price tag alone. Don't get us started on the benefits of water engines over hydrogen and FCEVs. You don't need the hydrogen to be pre-separated from oxygen, making the entire process both significantly cheaper and more convenient on a global scale. Second of all, you're not sitting on a literal napalm bomb that could go off at any moment. Hydrogen is a highly corrosive gas and extremely hard to contain, meaning the tanks will need to be both armored and require constant inspection, as leaking hydrogen is much more dangerous than leaking gasoline or water. Qasemi, based in Kermanshah, a city west of Tehran, has claimed to convert a locally manufactured Peugeot 405 from gasoline to a water-powered vehicle. This vehicle is said to be equipped with an engine that is not only highly efficient, but also reliable and straightforward. Remarkably, Qasemi managed to create this innovative technology from scratch during his spare time. The simplicity of the design belies its revolutionary impact, and this could be a game-changer for the automotive industry. Understanding how this water-powered engine works is essential to appreciate its potential. According to Qasemi, the engine generates power by separating water H2O into its constituent elements, hydrogen and oxygen. This separation creates a chemical reaction that produces the energy required to power the vehicle. The process is akin to the function of a hydrogen combustion engine, like the BMW Hydrogen 7, but with a significant difference. It does not rely on highly flammable compressed gas as a propellant. The core technology behind Qasemi's engine involves a hydrogen fuel cell that operates using electrolysis. During electrolysis, water molecules split into hydrogen and oxygen when voltage is applied to electrodes situated within the tank. This system, commonly known as an HHO generator, is designed to work seamlessly, at least in theory. The tank, which has a capacity of 60 liters, is located in place of the rear seats of the vehicle. A video showcasing the prototype demonstrates Qasemi filling the tank with distilled water. In an effort to emphasize the safety and purity of the fuel, Qasemi even drinks the water, confirming that it is not derived from any fossil fuel. In terms of performance, the vehicle demonstrates remarkable efficiency. Reports suggest that when driven economically, the car can travel over 900 kilometers at a steady speed of 90 kilometers per hour. This equates to consuming only 6 liters of water per 100 kilometers, making the engine extraordinarily economical. This level of efficiency means fewer refueling stops, making water-powered vehicles more convenient than electric vehicles, EVs, for long-distance travel. The benefits of water as a fuel source extend beyond efficiency. Comparing the water-powered engine to conventional fossil fuel engines reveals a stark contrast. For one, water is far more potent as an energy source. A liter of water can generate up to 96 megajoules of energy, while a liter of gasoline produces a mere 29 megajoules, nearly 4 times less. This doesn't imply that all cars using water-powered engines will be high-performance hypercars, but it does ensure they will meet the power requirements of most daily users. Environmental benefits are another significant advantage of water-powered engines. Unlike internal combustion engines that emit toxic gases, including large amounts of carbon dioxide, Qasemi's water-powered engine emits only water vapor. This dramatically reduces air pollution and makes the technology a beacon of hope for combating climate change. Additionally, water-powered engines are more economical, as water is substantially cheaper than gasoline or diesel. While distilled water is more expensive than tap water, it remains far more affordable than traditional fuels, placing water-powered vehicles on par with EVs in terms of operating costs. Water-powered engines also outshine electric vehicles in convenience. They can be refueled almost anywhere, and the process takes significantly less time than recharging an EV battery. Moreover, EVs are intricate machines requiring specialized knowledge and skills for maintenance and repair, often making them prohibitively expensive for the average consumer. For instance, replacing the battery of a baseline Tesla Model 3 can cost nearly a third of the car's price. In contrast, water-powered engines feature simpler mechanical systems, making them easier and cheaper to repair. The environmental and financial advantages of water-powered engines are complemented by their safety. Unlike hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicles which rely on pre-separated hydrogen, Kasemi's engine eliminates the need for storing highly flammable hydrogen gas. Hydrogen is not only difficult to contain but also poses significant safety risks due to its corrosive and explosive properties. By generating hydrogen on demand through electrolysis, Kasemi's design circumvents these challenges, making water-powered vehicles a safer and more practical alternative. With all these advantages, one might wonder why water-powered engines aren't already mainstream. The answer lies in a complex web of industry dynamics and historical precedents. Although Kasemi's invention is groundbreaking, it is not the first attempt at creating a water-powered engine. Throughout history, similar innovations have been met with skepticism, lack of funding, and even active suppression. One of the earliest instances of a functional water-powered vehicle dates back to 1998. Stanley Allen Meyer, an American inventor, developed a water-powered buggy that attracted significant attention. However, Meyer claimed that oil companies and car manufacturers threatened him and offered him large sums of money to abandon his project. Tragically, Meyer passed away under mysterious circumstances during a meeting with potential investors. His death, officially attributed to a brain aneurysm, occurred after he allegedly accused two businessmen of poisoning him. Adding to the intrigue, Meyer's garage was reportedly raided, and his vehicle and research materials vanished without a trace. Other inventors, such as Aga Wakar Ahmed from Pakistan, have faced similar challenges. Ahmed's water-powered vehicle garnered public interest, but was dismissed by the country's former Minister of Science and Technology, who claimed the invention violated the laws of conservation of energy. These examples highlight a recurring pattern. Promising water-powered technologies are often dismissed, overlooked, or suppressed, leaving them stuck in the realm of prototypes. Kasemi's invention risks meeting the same fate unless a major automotive manufacturer steps forward to support its development. Without industry backing, the technology may remain a concept rather than a reality. Nevertheless, Kasemi's work has reignited hope for a future where water-powered engines become a viable alternative to fossil fuels and EVs. Let's hope his Peugeot 405 avoids the tragic outcomes of past innovations and propels the automotive industry toward a more sustainable future. Until then, the dream of water-powered vehicles remains tantalizingly close, yet frustratingly out of reach.